Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Rules Horror. Story 1. You've received a letter. A place to share scary stories which contain a set of rules to follow. You spotted the mailman dropping the letter into your mailbox. But something is weird. What kind of mail comes at 3 AM? You must follow these instructions to ensure your safety. Get the mail. Unlike with the other unnaturals, you can't just hide this time. Do not read the letter. This is the most crucial rule. What's written in the letter is incomprehensible to the human mind and no one has survived after reading it. How you proceed depends on the color of the letter. 3A white, tear it apart, you will be safe now. If you got this one, you're lucky since this one is the easiest to survive. 3B yellow, keep it in your pocket. Don't worry if you don't have a pocket, you will have one now. 3C, red, burn it on a campfire or stove. Don't worry, it won't burn to crisps. Don't worry about the fire going out either. 3D, blue, submerge it in water. Anything like a sink or bathtub will work, but we recommend buckets since you can run with them. 3E, black, we're not sure what to do in this situation. If you happen to get this letter, please write your experience down on a paper. It's for the greater good. 4. Protect the letter, don't leave it no matter what happens. You may ignore this rule if you followed Rule 3A or 3E. 5. The letter may look like it's been destroyed or gone. Do not remove it from its place, it's a trick. 6. Do not pray, it gets stronger by your prayers. 7. Don't fall asleep. You can't protect the letter while you're asleep. 8. When it's finally the morning, the following will happen depending on the color of your letter. It means you're safe now. 8A yellow, your pocket will get a hole in it and the letter will fall out. 8B red, the fire will burn out. 8C blue, the water will evaporate. 9. If nothing from Rule 8 happens but it's morning, it's a trick. Just keep waiting until something from Rule 8 happens. Ignore this rule if you followed Rule 3A or 3E. 10. If you've survived, go to one of our offices and report the incident. Also submit the letter. We'll make sure it doesn't come after you again. The UDA. Story 2. The Sons of Maxwell. A place to share scary stories which contain a set of rules to follow. Years ago someone named Corvus had created a virus which had ended Earth as we know it. Only now have we realized how Corvus had created the virus. An ancient being known as Maxwell, the god of corruption, had helped Corvus in the creation of this virus. Now, on planet Q1-27 Maxwell's sons spread once more. Here's how to survive. Rule 1. Do not touch the tumors coming out of the ground, if you touch one you become a member of the hive mind. Rule 2. Do not let the hive mind see you. Once one sees you then they all see you. Rule 3. Do not mention Corvus, Margaret, or Maxwell to anyone. If the hive mind hears you then it's already too late. Rule 4A. Do not open the egg sacs, inside of those egg sacs are mutant being that awake once freed. Rule 4B. If you had opened one of the egg sacs then I advise you run away as fast as possible, if one of those things catches up with you then the infection may begin again. Rule 5. Stay away from meat. We've learned that Maxwell's sons spread through meat substances. If one of them catch you then you're done for. Rule 6. Do not try to escape. Maxwell has placed mutants he calls flesh bulbs outside the city walls. You will be found before an outside creature has time to kill you. Rule 7. The cake is a lie. Near the center of the city you will notice a large table with a large birthday cake on top of it. This is to lure victims. You have fallen prey to the living cake before, I'm not sure why you keep falling for it. Rule 8. Do not attempt to eat any of the corrupted souls. This includes meat spiders, living cake, mutants, flesh bulbs, flying squid, hive minds, tumors, and Maxwell. Rule 9. If you %+ number. Do not forget this rule, it is the most important. Hopefully you are prepared to survive the Sons of Maxwell. I wish you good luck. And we shall pray to the Sun Lord that the infection does not begin again. Story 3. Isirlist Security Officer Rules. A place to share scary stories which contain a set of rules to follow. Isirlist Security Services. You are currently at page 2 Security Officer Rules. If you are on this page, then that means you have been hired by Isirlist Security Services as a security officer. It is highly recommended you read the following rules for the safety of both you and those who surround you. As per the contract, we are not liable for any damages sustained during security operations. Rule 1. Wear your uniform at all times. We cannot stress this enough, wear your uniform at all times. Failure to wear the basic uniform of a blue cap with the company's logo on it, a dark grey shirt, black or blue pants stopping just above the ankle, black boots, replace with black ice or snow boots if the site you are posted at is located in frozen areas, socks, and if you desire you can choose to wear sunglasses and / or a coat with the company logo on it. Failure to adhere to this rule will result in other security officers treating you as an intruder and per company policy, shoot you on sight. Rule 2. Have a flashlight, lantern, or any significant source of illumination on your person at all times. Treat this rule with the same importance as Rule 1, as the lights may go out at any time. Which happens often, even with measures to protect the lights, while being left in the dark won't be immediately fatal, unless the lights return or you find another source of light. Being left in the dark will quickly become fatal due to opportunistic creatures attacking and most likely eating you. Rule 3. Keep a loaded firearm, preferably a concealable pistol, on your person at all times. This is another highly important rule as a firearm can save you from hostile creatures, intruders, and traitors. Remember, they won't hesitate to shoot you, don't hesitate to shoot them. Rule 4. Use an alias while at one of the sites. Names have power and some of the more neutral creatures will often attempt to get your real name to acquire power over you. Failure to adhere to this rule to cause you to rather unwillingly become a traitor and as a result, shot on sight. Rule 5. Remain silent as much as possible. We have free sign language classes for this exact reason, as sound can attract creatures that are more reliant on hearing than sight. Depending on how dangerous said creature is, the damage you may sustain from not following this rule can range from minor cuts and bruising to loss of limbs to even death. Rule 6. Keep your identification on your person at all times. This is a highly important rule as you may be randomly checked to make sure you are not being used as a host by other security officers and managers. Failure to show identification in these checks will result in immediate termination via 2 shots to the head. Rule 7. If you hear one of these 3 sirens, sprint to the nearest exit and get a vehicle, any vehicle, and speed out of the area as quickly as you can. Follow the below rules for more details on what to do in each situation. Rule 7a. If it sounds like a fire alarm, then take any warm clothing you have and toss it away to prevent hypothermia, and take repeated sips from your issued personal water bottle as you escape. A reactor meltdown is in progress. You have 10 minutes to escape before the reactor explosion. Rule 7b. If it sounds like a fan, then get as much warm clothing on your person as possible and sprint to the exit as quickly as possible. A reactor freeze-down has begun and you have 5 minutes to escape before you and the entire facility freezes over. Rule 7c. If it sounds like gunfire, drop whatever you had been doing, I don't care if you were taking a piss when the siren turned on, and sprint to the exit and stomp on the gas of any vehicle you take to get out immediately. The facility has failed to keep the hyper-aggressive creatures at bay and has fallen. You have around 1 minute to escape before you are located by one of said creatures. Rule 8. For the love of all that is holy, don't accept the heavily armored guard's offer. Nothing unnatural is happening here, they're just offering you the job with the highest mortality rate. Rule 9. There are multiple creature classifications. Refer to the following sub-rules for each classification of creature and how to deal with them. Rule 9a. Passive creatures are to be ignored. They won't attack anything and it'd be a waste of time to treat them like they can. Rule 9b. Neutral creatures are to be guided out of the facility. While they won't go out of their way to attack personnel, they will attack personnel if provoked. said provoking actions vary. Rule 9c, hostile creatures are to be shot on sight. Unlike neutral creatures, they will go out of their way to attack personnel, and it'd be easier to drop them then and there instead of taking the effort to safely get them out of the facility. Rule 9b, hyper-aggressive creatures you should run away from. You don't have a chance to fight back, and if seen, refer to Rule 7c. Rule 10, security shifts start at 1 am and end at 12:30 pm. Working outside of these hours is seen as working overtime. Working overtime is far more dangerous than working during your shift and will most likely result in your death. Story 4. Rules for escaping the dead school. A place to share scary stories which contain a set of rules to follow. So, you're just another teenager who just entered high school. Well, I got news for you, this isn't the school you're supposed to be at. Don't worry, you just have to escape and you'll never end up here again, hopefully. Rule 1. Trust no one, act like you're a mouse in a house full of cats. You're the only human, in fact you're the only one close to being human here. Rule 2. Try to find a weapon, there'll be knives in the cooking classroom. Unlike in the other posts, these entities bleed, and can be killed. Don't count on it though, they're still pretty tough. Rule 3. You have to escape in 3 hours or less, any longer and then the principal will be hunting you. That thing is a walking super weapon. Serrated claws, armor plating on its skin, jaw strong enough to bite into steel, dual-bladed tails for double the slashing power, the list goes on. Rule 4. Don't try to befriend any of them, they don't like to mingle with your kind. Rule 5. You'll have to find the front gate, it's your only way out other than climbing electrified fences. Rule 6. There are 6 teachers, 1 helper, and a vice principal. Here are the rules for dealing with each of them. Rule 6/A. The cooking teacher is the most dangerous staff member other than the vice principal and principal. Mainly because they have an ungodly amount of knives. I don't mean that as weapons, I mean they're made out of knives. You'll need to keep a bottle of water on you, it should be enough to convince the cooking teacher to avoid you like the bubonic plague. If not, just throw the bottle of water at it, it fears rust and as soon as you do that it'll never dare to go near you again. Rule 6/B. The math teacher won't be dangerous physically but is a death sentence mentally. Keep a calculator on you so you won't be broken by his maths questions. Rule 6/C. The PE teacher is deadly against anyone who isn't good physically. I hope that you're fit because if you slow down even a bit during the laps you'll never walk again. Rule 6/D. Avoid the history teacher at all costs, it's close to being as deadly as the cooking teacher due to it wielding a arming sword. I hope you know history well. Rule 6/E. The English teacher is the least deadly of the teachers since all you gotta do is read in its vicinity. Just make sure you're actually reading because one time someday it stole a fire axe to force people to read. I was a normal English teacher once, they were all normal teachers once. Rule 6/F. The music teacher is dangerous for the ears, if at any point you start hearing piano music, cover your ears because soon that piano will make fighter jets seem silent and yes, its head is a record player. Rule 6/G. The helper is your best friend here, try to find them as they'll guide you to the exit. Be careful though, even the false students can kill them. Don't ruin the safety for everyone who ends up here. Rule 6/H. The vice principal is incredibly dangerous, akin to a weaker version of the principal. Just try to avoid it. Rule 7. Don't enter the bathrooms, if you need to piss or shit do it into bushes, just don't enter the bathrooms. False students tend to gather there and often fight, smoke, vape, piss on the floors and shit in the urinals, just don't go there. Refer to Rule 8 for what a false student is. Rule 8. False students are the most common entity here, if you fall here you'll join them, for the most part they're docile but still try to avoid them, they can snap at any moment. Rule 9. Remain silent throughout this, you'll need to listen for the music teacher after all, plus you don't wanna advertise your location. Rule 10. If you see a man in Teutonic armor with claws and a bladed tail, avoid him. He's trying to rescue you, in reality he's gotten bored of this place and decided to drag you to another place he uses for amusement. From Skull Driver. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.